Well, we're sitting here, it is very exciting, of course, with a wild dog at Sydney's Dam, very long-range view. Couple of Buffelshoek vehicles in the sighting. I wouldn't describe us as actually being in the sighting on account of the fact that we're about 7 kilometres from it. Well, not quite, but about 400 metres or so. And I'm just looking in the way. I can see the Impala. Can you see the Impala there, Brian? It's just behind the first tree. If you scan across the dam, you can see the Impala that is stuck in the water there. Now, these dogs are patient, although I think it was Andrew and I, it wasn't you and me, Brian, or was it you and me, who waited out until the darkness. It was a Nyala in Buffelshoek Dam. That's right, and we waited until it was pitch black dark, and eventually the dogs gave up and moved away. And it was cold, wasn't it? It was winter, I think. And the Nyala got out and survived. So if that Impala can just relax in there, hold on until it's dark, the dog will move away. And all around the monotonous larks are calling. Now, apparently there were sort of 5 or 6 dogs, I think, probably even more. But the rest of them have probably dispersed off to eat something. And maybe this one probably just chased, probably from the same herd. And I suspect this chap just can't believe his luck. And he's going to try and wait it out. And it is very special, of course, to see these animals, because they are so very rare. I'm sad, we had a question this morning about wild dogs and whether they were like wolves, and it would have been so, and I had to describe them, of course, because we didn't have a wild dog on hand. It would have been very nice if we had. The only thing there are 2 things that will pull this dog away from the water here. And the first is if the rest of the pack started making noise and on the back end of them catching something else. And the other is the darkness. Because eventually the dog will try and find the rest of its pack. And Bobby, you're wondering if it's normal for it to be out on its own. Well, of course, they're out all the time. It's not that normal for it to be hunting here on its own. And the reason it is, I suspect, like I said, is that it's probably lost the rest of the pack as the pack chased the rest of the herd of Impala, giving credence to the sort of latest research on wild dogs that shows that they are not, in fact, particularly coordinated hunters. They're certainly cooperative, but they're not particularly coordinated, and they all just sort of bombshell or shotgun after, whatever individual they think's a good idea. And I suspect this chap chased this Impala into the water on its own. And Jamie, you're wondering if wild dogs can swim. They can, but remember, they're quite short, so he's shorter and lighter than the Impala that's in the water. And so to pull the Impala out of the water would be almost impossible. He'd almost certainly not have a foothold on the ground there, and so to grab it and kill it in the water would be almost impossible for him. So that's why he must wait until it's in much shallower water. I must say, these monotonous larks are truly monotonous. Undaunted in the water, of course, or by the water, is the oxpecker that is sitting on the back of the Impala's back. Can you see that? There is one there, isn't it? Yes. And luckily for this Impala, there doesn't seem to be a crocodile in here. I swear blind I've seen a crocodile in this water before.
Me too.
Yes, you have as well. Because then it would be in serious trouble. I'm afraid I missed that one, Megan. I just got bre bre down in Impala. Oh, Charlie, you're wondering if a lone dog would be able to bring down an Impala. Charlie, yes. Absolutely, and lone dogs do bring down Impala from time to time. It's much more difficult. Quickly, Brian, on the road in front of us, there's a courtship display going on. Look at this. I've never seen this before. It's two Natal spurfowl. Look at him. He's much bigger than she is, and he keeps opening his wings out and doing a little pirouette. Don't stop now, come on. We will keep an eye on the dogs. I think I just heard the others. Oh, there they are. Brian, they're there. Oh no, it's the same one, sorry. Talking rubbish. Same one. I thought I heard the others calling it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Brent does that very well. Whoop. Well, we're not going to have too much longer here, of course, because it is now starting to get a bit dark, but we'll sit here for as long as we can. Very nice way to sort of finish our drive, I guess. You can see the frustration, but the dog is not silly enough to go into the water. It knows what will happen. The Impala also obviously quite wily, not moving an inch. That's very cool. And just you can see the bubbles coming out of the water. I suspect quite a few catfish now hatched from wherever they were, you know, under the mud, or the eggs perhaps hatched. The oxpeck is having a merry old time, not considering at all the stress that that poor impala must be feeling. Now, I don't know who this individual is or which pack it belongs to, because there were some strange reports or differing reports as to which pack was seen earlier on. Liz, you're saying, will the water sap the impala's energy? No, not sitting there. In winter, cold would be a problem, absolutely. These animals do get, or impalas especially, can get very cold, but it's not actually swimming, it's just standing there. And so rather like a hippo, it's not using any energy at all, other than that it's using to sort of deal with the stress that it feels. And that dog is going nowhere. Well, it's coming towards us now, which is quite nice. But it will be so aware of the impala. And likewise, the impala has moved slightly towards the side. I'll tell you what, it'd be very interesting to know now if it made a run for it, if it gapped it. No, it wouldn't make it. If it moved gently to the side. Because at that distance, at the distance they are from each other, if the impala was to hit dry land now, I don't think the dog would catch it. I think it would quite successfully get away. If I was that impala, I'd be edging slowly towards the edge of the dam. Corin, you're wondering how long it will take the dog to find the rest of its pack. Corin, it really does depend on where the rest of the pack is. It's getting dark now. If the rest of the pack is killed somewhere far from here, then it's quite possible that the dog will spend the night on its own and then hook up with them tomorrow. But I suspect eventually it will start to call. Once it gets dark and it's given up on waiting for the impala, it will start to call. You see, the impala's not paying attention. Every time that dog turned its head, I would be moving. Like now, the dog's running away slightly. I would be scuttling off to the left-hand side. I wonder if the dog hasn't given up. Now's the time to gap it. Definitely, I think this dog's given up. I'm keeping an eye on the impala while you guys watch the dog. It has given up. You know, as much as I love wild dogs, I always like it when the prey manages to get away. It hasn't quite managed it yet. Have we lost the dog? No, you can still see it, can you? Just going to wait here and see if it doesn't pop out onto the road in front of us. Impala is not quite out the water yet. It stood up a bit, but it's not moving. Oh, I think that's it. I think the dog's gone off. Katie, what a wonderful question from you in the light of what we saw from the drone for the duration of our TV show. And Katie, the thing that the wild dogs caught the most of during those 8 weeks, because although we had them only once on the show, we watched them a few times during those 8 weeks, scrub hares. They eat hundreds of scrub hares. They flush them all the time. They devour them in seconds. And so often we don't even know about it. I'm sure this dog's in here somewhere. Let's just have one last look at the impala, which is still in the water. It's got brain freeze, I think. All right, let's move back a bit and see if we can't spot whether the dog is going to cross this cut line coming maybe into Djuma. If we do lose signal, Megan, we may well lose signal if we move too much here. I think we were quite lucky to have it where we are.